Hey, Vinyl QC Marker again from Soundmasters, talking all things vinyl as always. I've got a more laid-back video for you today as I close out the year a little bit, try and take some time off with the family and relax over the holiday season. A few things in store for you for this video, so I want to go through the most overrated band survey that I did a little bit and try and rationalise the result a little bit, because some people did get a little bit upset about that, and I've got just a few things to say in terms of what I think about the results, because obviously it wasn't my choosing who was on that list. It went out to a selection of my audience to see, just for a bit of fun, what would come back. Just want to rationalize that a little bit because some people did get a little bit upset. I've also got a really cool holiday record to share with you that's really unusual, because you can get the usual suspects in terms of Christmas albums if you like, and this is a little bit more unusual, and I think you should check it out if you're looking for something a little bit different to listen to over this period of the year. And finally, I'm just going to talk about how I'm going to organise my records over the holiday season, take some time to do so. I've got an interesting label maker that I use for the divider cards that I just want to share with you as a nice alternative to scribbling on those cards. It just looks a little bit untidy. So I've got that to share with you too, and just generally share with you what I'm going to be doing as a record collector over the holiday season, and ask you, what are you guys going to be doing with your time as you hopefully have a little bit of downtime over the next couple of weeks. But without further ado, that's enough waffling from me. Let's get straight into today's video. So yeah, the most overrated band of all time, the survey that went out to my audience and the results that came back did upset a few people, and I just wanted to touch on this and go through what really it was all about. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out in the top corner or check the description below. But just to recap, there was a top 10 that I announced that came back from the survey, starting from number 10, Guns N' Roses, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, Nirvana, Oasis, Coldplay, Queen, Kiss, U2 and the Beatles. Some of these bands on this list are some of my favourite bands. Other ones I care less for, but you know, that's personal taste for you. But obviously, particularly that number one spot did surprise me, but I guess at the same time didn't surprise me, but it definitely upset the most amount of people. And I think actually I just want to pull up a comment from one of my audience who I think really hit the nail on the head as to why the result came back as it did. This is from Larry, who said, I guess if you think Bark is overrated, then the Beatles could be overrated. On the plus side, I guess you have to be very highly rated to be considered the most overrated. That really hits the nail on the head for me. And I did say in the original video that, you know, the bigger you are, I think the more likely your name is to come up on a list like this, and it doesn't really get much bigger than the Beatles. I would say the Beatles are one of my favourite bands of all time, and I don't think anyone really can argue whether you like them or not. Yeah, that's your personal taste and your prerogative to state so. But you know, their contribution to the trajectory of modern popular music, arguably a lot of the other bands on that list would look very different without the contributions of the Beatles to songwriting, but also their contributions to studio production techniques and the more experimental side of that as they developed throughout their careers, and the albums became a lot more kind of, yeah, arguably you wouldn't have progressive rock or, you know, the psychedelic sort of side of stuff really influenced so much of what came after them. So an essential band to the trajectory of music, undoubtedly. You know, does that mean everyone has to love them? No, absolutely not. And actually, interestingly, Frank Landry from 33 RPM, I think recently is part of one of his videos. I haven't watched the whole video, but I did see that he's recently touched on this topic about how people get very upset when much beloved bands, you know, are coming up in lists like this, or maybe somebody says they don't like them. I think the main thing he said was that we don't have to like the same stuff, and our differences are what makes the entire hobby interesting. You know, wouldn't the world be a boring place if we all liked the same music? And I have to say, I completely wholeheartedly agree with Frank. Frank has a great channel, of course, and I'm sure most of you watching this channel will be well and truly aware of Frank's channel, unless you've been living under a rock, of course. But yeah, I fully agree with what he says there. I think that was an important thing to state, and I think it's very relevant to what we see here in this survey. Moving swiftly on now then to the album I think you should definitely check out this holiday season. So this is Handmade Christmas. Try and get that in the shot. This is Handmade Christmas by a guy called Bob McNally. And the interesting thing about this album is he handmade all of the instruments and also played them that you hear on this album. So it's traditional carols on traditional instruments, all handmade by Bob, of course. It was released in 1983 and I believe is completely out of print now, and you can't get it on streaming services, which is one of the reasons I always talk about why it's so important to still own physical music. Not everything is available on your favourite streaming services. If you want to check out the album for yourself, you can listen to it on YouTube, but I would recommend going on to Discogs and hunting down a copy if you like the sound of it. It's just so cosy, okay, a bit kitsch, but you know, Christmas is a little bit kitsch in general, but it's become a firm family favourite for cosy evenings in over the holiday season. I'm forever thankful, and I must give him a shout out to Mitch at Black Circle Radio, who runs an all vinyl radio station out in the States. He introduced this album to me some years ago, so I am forever thankful for being introduced to an album that I never would have discovered if it wasn't for Mitch. So thank you, Mitch, and I hope you have a happy holiday season. Let me know what your favourite Christmas record is in the comments below. Which one do you think I should check out? I've got a list as well of great Christmas records on the website that you can check out in your own time, so check those out and let me know which ones you think I missed in the comments section below. I'm always looking for new stuff to listen to that's beyond the obvious usual Christmas music that you hear every single year. And just to close out, I'll be spending some time organising my records over the holiday season, and I'll be using instead of using a Sharpie on the standard dividers, you know, like these sorts of things, I'll be using a label maker to make them look just a little bit more kind of appealing, a bit more retro. It just looks nicer than a Sharpie, doesn't it? So I recommend, to do that, getting yourself one of these. So that, if I can get it to focus, that is a label maker, of course, so you don't need any electronics or anything to do that. It just punches them into the tape and you get nice retro looking labels that you can add to the standard divider cards that we all know and love. This particular one, I've got jazz written on there to accommodate my growing collection of jazz records. I don't have enough to do that by alphabetical just yet, but we're not far away from getting to that point, I don't think. But I definitely need a separate section for the jazz and blues even genre now. So I'll be doing that over the holiday season, but I do recommend you check out those dividers because it's just so much nicer than scribbling on those cards with a Sharpie, if that's what you've been doing. But how do you organise yours? How do you label your records? Let me know down in the comments below what you use. If you've got any tips, any products you reckon people should check out in terms of doing it neatly and looking nice to get your collection looking all nice and spruced up in your storage cabinet. Always keen to hear your tips and your approaches in that comments section. Lastly, I'll be spending some time with the degritter, sprucing up some of my record collection. It's been one of the best tools I've added to my record collecting hobby over the last 12 months. And I'm going to be comparing how the Groove Washer Ultrasonic Concentrate compares to the supplied degritter formula that comes with their machines in terms of, you know, a surfactant to break the surface tension. I want to see how little of this stuff I can add while still breaking that surface tension of the water, so the water doesn't just sit on the record surface and actually gets into the grooves of the records. The results of which, if they turn out to be interesting, I will share with you in the new year. But now it's over to you. What are you going to be doing as part of your record collecting hobby whilst you've hopefully got a bit of downtime over the next couple of weeks? Let me know down in the comments below. It's always good to hear from you, the vinyl community, what you're going to be up to and to share our hobby together. So all that's left to be said then is have a fantastic holiday season, however you choose to spend it, and I wish you all a terrific 2024. Thank you ever so much for your support on this channel over the last 12 months. It really means the world to me. If you'd like to support me further, I'd appreciate that ever so much. Check out the links in the description of this video where there are the usual discount codes that I share in every video so you can get money off gear to feed your vinyl hobby. I get a very small commission at no extra cost to you. As I say, it helps keep this channel going. I truly appreciate you. If you're new to this channel, please do consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next video in 2024. Until then, keep spinning and enjoy the music.